Today, we have an incredible guest that's teaching us all about how to prioritize and live a value-led life that has way less chaos and much more peace. So stay tuned. Welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. I'm Kendra Nielsen, wife, mom, and licensed therapist. Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right, but you're still exhausted and empty? Did you think life, marriage, and parenting would be simpler and more rewarding? Sometimes you just want to crawl back into bed and lose yourself in screen time and chocolate, rather than face that personal or family stress. You are not alone. This podcast helps you break free of the rat race and build a richer, more meaningful life, flourishing incrementally and realistically, improving your mental health and wellness, and living with deeper purpose beyond the mundane, no matter where you are in life's journey.
I say a life of and is an abundant resource. The whole family should feel like they're living there. It's not just me as the mom that gets to live inside of my life of and. And quick definition around what that is that all of us have three major areas in our life. I think all of life fits into these three buckets. Our self, which is our personal life, our spiritual life, our closest friendships, hobbies, those things that make us feel whole and fulfilled. Our family, which is either our chosen family or our nuclear family, those kind of tier one relationships that when they're intact, life feels simpler and easy. And the third one is our vocation. So for us, it's our career. It can be also where you volunteer. So any place that you're putting time and resources, time and money into space that is not yourself or your family. So for our kids at school, it's their activities. We've got huge capacity that's taken up in that part of their lives as well. And so when those three circles of our lives can work in concert with one another, that we've clearly defined priorities in each three areas, and we're living in the center, picture like a Venn diagram, that's our life of and, where self, career, and family is fed in a way that is sustainable. And each of us, my husband has different circles. He is a different person. We have some of the same family members, but not all. And then his career. And then my girls each have those three circles too. So my job as COO is to understand what are your priorities in those three areas of your life in the coming season, and how can we make sure that everybody can get everything done?
Yeah, I love that. So breaking it down. And that seems to be what you are gifted at, really looking at it okay, how can we make this flow better? How can we make it so everybody gets on board? Just more peace, definitely less chaos in your life, which is what we're all looking for.
Sure.
You also mentioned before we started that you talk a lot about balance, and this is essentially talking about balance. Do you mind teaching us a little bit more about different things you suggest when it comes to balancing your life in a way that can be more fulfilling?
Yeah, so I think we oftentimes, when we say the word balance, we first go to this concept of time. That if I have a balanced life, that means that I have a perfectly apportioned amount of time for everything I want to do every day of my life. And I think if you've been on planet Earth for any amount of time, you start to understand that is just not possible. That version of balance, it's an illusion. You've got kids that get sick. You've got customers that need you last minute. You've got a night you didn't sleep very well. You've got somebody spilled fingernail polish on the carpet. Now you need 3 hours. There's just stuff that happens that interrupts life every single day. There's maybe 2 days a year that go exactly the way that you planned. It's just a function of living a big, full life, is that you're going to be interrupted and it isn't going to go perfectly. So how do we build a definition of balance on that known truth? And I started to observe my own behavior and said, there can be days that are 20 hours long. And I can get to the end of it and say, wow, I put in a heck of an effort and I feel amazing at the end of it. And life feels totally in balance, even though it just took 20 hours. What in the world is going on? And what I observed is that whenever I was doing things that were wholly aligned to my priorities, what I was seeking to do in the world, and wholly aligned to my values as an individual, who I was seeking to become in the world, whenever all of my day fit totally in that quadrant, then I was 100% on fire and I had a seemingly abundant amount of energy and felt so imbalanced. Because on days when I'm like flying all over, being there for my kids, I'm creating content that's giving me tons of energy. I'm doing calls with women who I know I'm helping. I'm chatting quick with a friend to see if I can do something. I'm cooking dinner for my family, which I love to do. If I'm doing all of those things in quick succession, life feels fluid and effortless because I'm just going from thing to thing that I love. It has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with doing things that are aligned with what I want to do more of in the world, my priorities, and who I want to become more of in the world, my values personally. And whenever I'm in that quadrant, life feels light and I'm crushing and I don't even care how many hours it takes for me.
So what about in that case? I really value cultures, travel. Like, I just love adventure. And it's a little bit crazy with 5 kids and all of their things. And it feels like different listeners might have other values, same thing, where it's challenging to meet those needs as values and do it in a way that doesn't adversely affect other people. What would you say to that?
Yeah. So in an ideal world, what would that look like for you? Being able to explore and come into contact with other cultures.
In an ideal world, that would mean I would pretty much exclusively just stay 6 months in an area and travel all around the world. My kids would be homeschooled. Maybe, if it's ideal, me even have a nanny help out as I balance my work plus helping them with school.
So you'd spend 6 months in another country or some other place.
Mhm.
You take your kids with you.
Yeah, our whole family would travel.
And you would live more unconventionally in the sense of your kids would be homeschooled and you'd have somebody like full-time helping you with everything.
Yeah, I'd be like a digital nomad.
Like, is this a possibility or is your family working towards this?
Our oldest 2 were not interested, so we're hoping our younger 2 remain interested as they get older, as we're waiting for the second one to graduate. So yes, that is the hope.
What year, if your second two remain interested, what year would that be?
3 years after this year. So whatever year.
25 to 2028? Okay. So the question then is, how can you incorporate some version of this into your lives right now as you're testing, experimenting, and planning towards this like kind of big break from your existing life and routines?
I've thought about this a lot too. The plan is, again, to probably do like a family home swap. There's lots of programs like that now. And potentially do it over the summer and see how they like it. So maybe like July.
And you're going to maybe do that in this coming summer?
That's the hope, yeah. Moving forward, we're looking into that more.
So that's one practical way that you can certainly test into this.
Mhm.
What are ways that you think you could even routinely expose those kids that you want to stay interested in this to other cultures in a way that would help keep their curiosity in their world, like them looking outside instead of what their friends start doing becomes a real gravitational pull?
That's a great question. A couple things. We have an exchange student, so that keeps that curiosity that I'm wanting to visit them potentially.
Yeah.
Also, be getting them involved in that planning of like, where would you be interested in going? What would you want to do? How would that look for you if we did leave for several months or half of the year? That type of thing.
Yeah, I think them involved in planning. Some other ideas that I have, if I was wanting to do this, is like, how do I make a list of 10 cultural, unique, like even like culinary experiences within driving distance? Like we're in Indianapolis, so like Chicago probably has some different things. One of my best friends has a son that they adopted from Ethiopia. There's some really immersive dining experiences with the Ethiopian culture, which they don't use silverware. They do everything with their hands. And so even things like that, where it was a 3-hour experience and it could just whet this curiosity of, let's pick 5 places we think we might want to go. Each of us take one place and do some research on it. And let's go have the cuisine that they serve there. And let's understand what their schooling looks like. Like have these little parts that you're almost adventuring together as a family. The learning part of it could be a way of like beginning the adventure now without it feeling like it has to wait for 4 years or until summer.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like that baby step in that right direction, continuing that. So you're still living a value-led life, but not necessarily putting it on hold for so long. So I know probably other listeners are like, I don't even know how to do that if I have young babies. Maybe it's not travel. Maybe they want to go back to school. Maybe they want to switch careers and go into something totally different. Yeah, any tips or ideas you have for people when it just feels like everything's working against them and they don't really have the buy-in of other people in their family?
I will say, I think the worldview of everything is working against me is giving your power away to your environment instead of saying, I am a grown up and I have control over my choices. And so I need to understand that my choices have put me where I am, which means my choices can move me to where I want to go. Because I looked at all kinds of things like I own my business. It's not like I can just walk away from it. It's like, yes, I could. I might not have liked the consequences, but yes, I can. I'm not a victim of that choice. I chose that on my own. And I might not like where some of my performance got me, like when the business wasn't doing well. And I was so mad at it because I was like, I could have a job right now and it would pay me so much more. And I wouldn't have all this stress and I wouldn't have all this debt and I wouldn't have to work so many hours and I wouldn't have so much responsibility. My options were let go of the ski rope and just be done, file for bankruptcy and take all that came with that. That was one option. Option 2 was sell it for pennies on the dollar and figuring out if I could get something for it. That was another option. Or option 3 was get to work and figure out if I could make myself, my past self, look smart for having taken all this risk. And it took longer than I wanted it to because you want everything to change in 90 days and it just doesn't. It took like 3 years, which when you're in it feels long, but when you live a life of 100 years, it's very short. To now have an asset that creates passive income for our family. And it's such a blessing. So yeah, I had to do some things I didn't want to do for a little longer than I wanted to do them to get to the place where I had more options with my time. I had a personal guarantee on a lease. I had all kinds of consequences that would have come from me being like, I'm out. I'm done right now. But it was an option. I might not have liked the consequences, but it was an option. Or the option that I took was work a little harder and a little longer than you want to, which in the moment felt impossible, but it wasn't. I did it. And I'm so glad I did. So when people are in that spot where I feel like I'm in a prison, you just don't like your options. And sometimes you're at a place in life where you don't like your options, but you are picking one by staying where you are. Just be really clear about what you're picking. So that's the first thing that I would say. The other thing that I would say is not everything in life can happen all at the same time. When you have made the choice to have children, when you're in the first 12 months postpartum, the idea of starting anything new in life is insane. If you have the resources for a night nurse, a full-time nanny, and I don't know, like an au pair as well, then knock yourself out. We did not have the financial wherewithal for that kind of help. And so when I was in seasons of, I just had a baby, I had to throttle back the things I wanted to do because I chose something else, which was have a baby. You know what I mean? And we get mad at life for these natural consequences of our time instead of owning that just needs to go on my not now list right now. Pickleball is all the rage. I had my last daughter at 40. And so I'm 45. Many of my friends who had their kids young, because we're in the Midwest, their kids are like both in high school, potentially both driving. It's a very different existence than me having a 5-year-old who has not yet started school. That is a context reality for my time. Pickleball is still on my not now list, and it is fully on my now list for some of my friends. We're the same age, but we have different contexts. And so we have to understand the fact that we have 4 kids and some of my friends have 2. I have 100% more children than they have.
Yeah.
Guess what? There's different contexts. I have businesses that I'm invested in and that I run. That's different context. And so we look at people who are in different stages or different contexts and get mad that we can't do the same things. But we have to remember, what did I choose that created this context, or how can I remove some ordinary, like getting your house cleaned, sending out your laundry, having a mobile service come change the oil in your car. Things that you can do to get rid of ordinary stuff in your life so that you have a little bit more capacity for the extraordinary.
Yeah, I love that. And I love especially that you brought up pickleball because I'm obsessed. And I think one of those things too, like I play with a lot of people that are even retired. They play every day religiously. And I'm like, oh, what I wouldn't give to do that. I have to pick my days carefully and rearrange my life to make it
Yeah,
matter. It can be the same for anything, right? Not now, and that's okay. Things will shift. Like I remember doing that as a young mom. It's just like you
totally.
insane to get all of those things, but knowing that it will come and it will come sooner than you think. And I hated it when people said that to me, but it's true.
It's 100% true.
Thank you, Tiffany, so much for coming on. You had some amazing points on like how we can do things in a way that communicates better, some explicit versus implicit ways of sharing and organizing our life to make it less chaotic. I love those things. Is there any final thought you'd like to leave us with, and also where we can find you?
Yeah, no, I guess what I would say is that to build a life of, you have to first believe that a life devoid of chaos is possible, because we build what we believe. And so that, I guess, would be my parting thought. And yeah, if you want more content like this, tips on how to live inside of your own life, I would love for people to join me over on my podcast feed. We're inching up on 300 episodes and would love to invite you over there. It's called Life of And, A-N-D. And I can teach you how to live in a way that feels like you're in balance and that there's a lot of connection and peace in your home.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will put that in the show notes. So we're happy to have you on again.
Thanks, Kendra. Appreciate you having me.
Hey, friends. I'll see you back here every Monday with new episodes. Don't forget, we switched it up a little bit this year where we are doing more coaching calls. We're doing more podcast guests. We're having more discussions about how to take our personal life and fulfillment to the next level so we can really thrive when it feels stupid hard. So stay tuned. Hey friends, if you enjoyed this episode, a quick 30-second share can help someone else find support and help this podcast grow. Leaving a review on Apple Podcasts boosts visibility and keeps the show alive. Your simple acts make a big difference. I'll see you back here each week for more life-changing episodes.